Welcome to the September meeting of the Raleigh Astronomy Club for 2021. Um, Thank you for tuning in. And this month's topic, we're going to talk about some of the resources and how some of our newer members can interact more efficiently with the club. So when you think about RAC's overall mission, why did you join an astronomy club? Why does the astronomy club here? It really is about bringing amateur astronomy to the triangle. And I have to say, as a club, we're very passionate about not only helping club members, but also the public learn more about astronomy, space exploration, the night sky, observing, astrophotography, and much, much more. We do this through a number of different ways, but our signature event, and we wanted to highlight this, is Astronomy Days. It is a weekend plus event that's held in late January. When this was done face to face before the era of the pandemic, we would draw over 14,000 people to the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. RAC is one of the founding organizations, but now the folks that get involved and support Astronomy Days includes the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, NASA, and many other astronomy or space-related agencies throughout North Carolina. Um, an amazing event. And we also support all sorts of outreach events throughout the Triangle and beyond. So you'll see us partner often with Moorhead Planetarium and Science Center, especially during the statewide Star Party, and many other small organizations like schools, scouts, etc. So now that you are a member of the club, here are some important first steps. It's very important to get familiar with the club website. It is available following this link, raleighastro.org. You'll want to log in using the email and password that you created when you actually registered for membership. If you happen to get a family membership, make sure the treasurer, and that's treasurer@raleighastro.org, has a name and an email for the second member. So you'll already have your name and email, but make sure we also have the second member's information. And also, you want to make sure that you get set up with the basically the communication platform that we've set up, and that's called groups.io. So when you become a member, you'll automatically be added to RAC's groups.io member list. Now, definitely wait about 24 hours to receive this invitation via email, but you will get that. And make sure you accept this invitation. This is absolutely critical, because if you don't accept the invitation, it's hard to reestablish it, and it takes a little back and forth to get it done. So please make sure you accept the initial invitation. And to really underscore that, the vast majority of the communications within the group are based upon having everything that goes through the group's IO platform. So some really important links for our club members. The first is obviously the website, as mentioned earlier. And when you log in, easiest thing to do is, no matter how you get there, first thing to do is just click on the members menu item at the very, very top. It's on, no matter what page you go to, it will be there in the top right-hand corner. And this will allow you to navigate to all the member resources from this page. And you can see there's just a smattering of them down below. Also, the Groups IO website is another important link. Even though you will most likely get all your communications through email, it is, if you want to customize some of your subscription preferences, it's important that you have this link. It's just groups.io, and then you can go to your groups. In this scenario, you can see not only do I have my Raleigh groups, but I'm also a member of some other ones as well. And if you prefer to check your messages via the website instead of checking them through email, this is where you would go through as well. And then lastly is our Facebook page. So this is much more of an external communications tool rather than for internal members, but there's often great content that's posted here, and you can even share your own content to this page as well. So we really, recommend and encourage members to, if they've got an interesting story or a cool photo to share, feel free to post it to the Facebook page. Okay. Now, we get a lot of questions about what's the monthly meeting structure, and especially if you haven't been around a while, you'll hear us throw around the term RACOBS. That stands for Raleigh Astronomy Club Observing Session. And that is always scheduled for either the second or the fourth Friday of every month, whichever one is closest to the new moon. It is held at our Big Wood site at Jordan Lake. It is usually open to the public, except during times of pandemic. And a link to the site rules and directions should also be included in the announcements that we post on groups.io. We have our indoor meetings, and these again are also scheduled for either the second or the fourth Friday of the month, closest to the full moon. Notice the difference: new moon above, full moon below. These are open to the public. Also, they are usually in person, but during the pandemic, these have been virtual. There is some confusion, especially when we say indoor meeting and then we say Zoom. Tends to kind of be a little confusing there. But just watch for those announcements via the groups.io announcements. And then lastly, our imaging meetings. This is a special interest group. These are always scheduled for the third Thursday of the month, unless there are other circumstances. Sometimes if holiday falls around that time, we might get that moved up a week. But also it's announced in groups.io. So we'll kind of put this into practice on how this works. So first, in our monthly meeting structure, we'll go ahead and load kind of the moon phases here. And this is just a fictitious month. So in this scenario, at the new moon towards the beginning of the month, that means on the second Friday, we're going to schedule the RACOBS. On the third Thursday is the imaging meeting, and then the fourth Friday is the indoor meeting. But this is not always the case that the new moon falls towards the beginning of the month. What happens if it's a month where the new moon falls towards the end of the month? You can see we've actually switched the meetings. We have our indoor meeting on the second Friday of the month and RACOBS on the fourth Friday of the month. So again, it's not always going to be the same second or fourth Friday. Watch the calendar to make sure, or know that it's usually the one that's closest to the full moon. Indoor RACOBS is closest to the new moon. Speaking of email communications, again, we mentioned it earlier, but we use the platform called groups.io for club communication. To get the most out of your membership, it really is important that you get set up on groups.io. So as noted earlier, make sure you accept that invitation when you join. There are several subgroups that we use on the platform, and they all kind of follow the same format. It's usually some sort of name at raleighastro.groups.io. And below is the major ones, but it's not an exhaustive list. We have announcements. Do not unsubscribe from this group. That could cause problems with your membership. Oftentimes, we'll take that as if you unsubscribe from this, you're basically wanting to leave the club. So don't unsubscribe from that list. It is the umbrella group. Also, if you reply to those announcements, those are not going to be seen by other members. Only the admins are going to see it. So if you want see something about a meeting, but want to comment about other members, make sure you put it to another one of the groups, such as members at raleighastro.groups.io. This is the primary discussion group for the club, and it includes everything from equipment to space science. Any member can post and reply to messages. There's really nothing you have to worry about there in terms of content or who has access to post or not. We have the imaging group discussion as well, and this is for the really anything related to astrophotography. If you want to share photos, whether you're asking for advice or you want to give some advice, so that is very much specific to imaging. And we also have RAC Academy. This is a forum for folks that are newer to astronomy, looking to ask basic questions, and where this is geared towards those people just learning the hobby. There's no reason why you can't post in members if you want to. This is just a bit more focused. So if people feel a little self-conscious asking what they believe might be too rudimentary of a question and they want to focus it there, feel free to post there. But again, you can post in either one of those groups. And there is help available on our webpage. So if you don't know how to use groups.io or you want to figure out how you subscribe to things, again, just go to the members page and you'll see down here towards the bottom, there's a help article about using groups.io. So very useful. You can also control how RAC, these emails are delivered to you via the web page. So if you click on the subscription button when you log into or go to that groups.io web page, any one of the groups you belong to, you can set up as an individual messages. So you will get, and each message will come through as its own email as soon as it is posted to the group. And if you get tired of that particular thread, you can actually mute that individual topic if you want, and you won't get any more messages about that topic, but you'll continue to get messages from everything else. You can do a full featured digest. So if you don't want to receive a whole bunch of emails, you can receive a fully formatted HTML digest that contains the day's messages. And that's very useful if you want to kind of scan through stuff you want to read. And the full messages are listed here versus the, and we'll talk about it in a second, another option. But again, plain digest is just like above, except this will be in plain text. It won't be formatted in HTML. And then the other one is a daily summary. And this is just all you get are the subject lines that were posted that day. So unlike the digest, this summary does not include the actual messages. It only contains the list of topics and then a hyperlink that will take you to the groups.io page, and you can see the actual full conversation. And then you can select no email. So with this setting, you won't receive any group messages by email, but you can still go whenever you want to the groups.io page and check just via the website. So if you don't want emails at all, but you want to go eventually to check things out, it can be done there. You definitely don't want to select this option for your announcements group. So we also do observing. How do members interact with us and get out and do observing? So we did mention that earlier we have RAC Obs, and that's Raleigh Astronomy Club observing session, held on the second or fourth Friday nearest the new moon at the Big Woods site at Jordan Lake, usually open to the public. So we covered that earlier. A go or no-go decision is usually made the day of the event and is posted via groups.io. Sometimes that decision is made fairly late in the afternoon because the weather models just won't agree, and it takes time to figure out if it's actually going to be any good. The time when the gate will be unlocked will be posted in the go announcements. It's typically around sunset, but again, depending upon the time of year, if sunset is at 5 o'clock, but it's a Friday night, there might be work engagements involved, and it might be a little bit after that. Definitely during the summer, it's definitely around sunset. The end time is up to the last key holder that's on site, and I can say with pretty much certainty that it's almost always past midnight, unless the weather has just gone completely pear-shaped. There's no official program out there or order of events. You basically arrive, you set up your gear, socialize if you want to, observe. You can come and go as you wish. Again, you don't have to be there at the start, and you don't have to be there till the end. Just come out and observe. The only thing we ask is that once it's dark, just be very careful with your headlights. You don't want to basically blind everyone on the observing field. So as you back out, or sometimes we do recommend that you actually, if you arrive before sunset, park your car facing, with the trunk or everything facing backwards. So when you leave, you don't put on your backup lights. You can just kind of head out. The link to the site rules and directions will be included in the announcements as well. And we also have impromptu observing sessions, something that we haven't been able to take a lot of advantage of recently because of the pandemic and other issues, but it is for members only. The key holders will announce their intention to go to Bigwoods on a particular non-RAC Obs night and just watch for the emails on groups.io. Typically they'll ask for, hey, who's interested? So we know how many folks are heading out. And I will say that there are no key holder requirements if we're going to be observing at Howell Woods. So I've mentioned two sites, Jordan Lake and Howell Woods. So what are those? So here are observing sites. Bigwoods, we have special permission to use the land at Jordan Lake. It is controlled via a locked gate, and therefore the folks that manage that land out there do require that the gate is locked. And we have mechanisms to kind of limit access. We don't advertise the location to the general public because of the limited parking. You can kind of see in this observing area, that's typically about where most folks will set up their telescopes. This area over here, hopefully my cursor's showing up, over here has gotten quite full with foliage and brush and everything. So we can fit about 30 cars parked side by side, and with a club of over 350 people, we could easily swamp this area. So again, we do ask that we do keep kind of a tight rein on who's going out and for not going out. There are no facilities, and what I mean by that is restrooms, and there's also no power that we can use on site. So if your telescope needs power or you have any other electronics, have to bring your own batteries. And during observing sessions, the gate is not locked, but the padlock up here at the gate is going to appear as if it's locked and the chain is on the gate, but it is not. So we just want to make sure that people, just general people from the public, don't drive by and see this big open gate. It always looks locked. Then we have Howell Woods. So this is located in Johnston County, and it's east of I-95. The land is owned by the Johnston County Community College. There are two observing sites available. The first one is in the front up here, next to a parking lot, but this whole field is available. And the second one is an open field towards the back near the shooting range. And I profess that I have never been to the back site, so I'm assuming it is this back section here, and this is a shooting, the firearm training facility. I don't know if anyone has been there and can validate that this is the back field that they're talking about or not, but I think that's what it is. And restrooms are available on site. I know for a fact that there are some buildings right along here that are available. In fact, if we're observing out there, they'll oftentimes keep a room unlocked, and we can use it as a warming room if it's getting cold out there. So, and locations or directions to this are also kind of out on the website as well. So outreach is a very important part of the club, and I've mentioned that earlier. We are really dedicated to promoting astronomy in the Raleigh and surrounding areas, and a lot of us have a deep passion for that. And we do that through various formats. So we'll do public observing events, such as the one pictured here. We have other examples of observing events. This is for UNC Science Expo we did a couple years back, solar observing, and you can tell by the weather it was not optimal for solar observing. We did another solar observing event here at Marbles Museum in Raleigh. And we've got a couple pictures of the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing that we did. That was also a great daytime event. We had a tremendous attendance for that event at the Museum of Natural History. We also, as mentioned earlier, we do customized outreach events for groups, whether that's a school, scouting groups, camps, etc. We do that. We hold classes and clinics, and we just had one on binocular observing. And we also do really big events like astronomy days. Here are a few of astronomy days past. This is our telescopes on display section. We've got an Ask the Astronomer booth near the main RAC table. The imaging group often brings some amazing photographs to share. And then we also do events such as the statewide star party, which is also just a fantastic event. And I will say it is the largest star party in the universe. It has not been proven yet that it is not the largest. So we'll just continue with that. Again, another picture of the statewide star party. And there is also a separate group, groups.io for outreach. And again, you can subscribe through the website or just follow the links and we'll walk through the instructions on how to get there. Speaking of outreach, we also do a volunteer apparel program. As you can see, I'm sporting mine here. And this is a program where every hour of outreach equals 1 point. And as you develop points, you can redeem them for different pieces of apparel. So it is open to all members in good standing. The points expire after 2 years of the date of the outreach event. This policy is currently on hold due to the pandemic. The accumulation of points is based on hours and not the number of events. And things like travel, setup, and tear down don't count towards the hours. Also, the first shirt is actually provided in advance of the event. So you'll get the shirt. You basically start with a point deficit. So if you're going to be doing a 2 or 3 hour event and you want to be part of the program, ask the person who's leading it, we'll get you a shirt. And then if it's a 3 hour event, then you basically start out with -9 points. And that's how they continue to build. So we've got everything from hats, long sleeve shirts, and even a hoodie, although we haven't designed the graphics for the hoodie yet. Important note is that any of these hours can also be used towards the Astronomical League Outreach Award. And we'll talk about those programs in just a little bit. We do have a telescope loaner program. We have over 15 telescopes in the program. They're Dobsonians, Schmidt-Cassegrains, Max, and refractors. It's open to members in good standing only. The program is limited to residents of Wake County. We unfortunately had issues in the past where it was very difficult to get telescopes back from folks. And we made that decision to try and make it a little bit easier to get our basically get the telescopes back. The loaner period is 3 months, but you can check the scope out for another 3 months as long as there are no members on the waiting list for that particular scope. And any kind of request to check out the loaner scope program will be made through the website. So go to the website, loaner scope program. You can see the different scopes that we have. They're broken down into the Cassegrains up here and Max, the Dobsonians down here, and then down below we have one of the refractors. And you can just log into, just click on any one of these, opens up a window, and you can see pictures of the scope, what it comes with, etc. And then all you have to do is to then request the scope, click on the loaner telescope form, and it'll walk you through filling out the information. So that's how the scope loaner program. Okay, next we'll talk about the Astronomical League, and especially their observing programs. So the Astronomical League is composed of over 240 clubs, societies, etc., across the United States, and obviously RAC is one of these. Because with these organizations, along with at-large members, or members at large, sorry, patrons and other supporting members, that makes this one of the largest amateur organizations in the world. their goal is basically very similar to RAC's, and that is to encourage interest in astronomy, especially in amateur astronomy across America. And the AL, and one of the things that I love about it is that they provide many different observing programs. There's a lot more to the AL, but I think the primary benefit for our members are these observing programs. I like to think of these as kind of the Boy Scout or Girl Scout approach to things, where once you complete a certain program, you kind of get some sort of certificate, a pin, your badge, etc. So they're designed to give you direction for your observations and provide you with a goal. Those pins and certificates basically get you the recognition for that accomplishment, and some of them are definitely not a walk in the park. They do take time, and they do help improve your skills in observing, as well as the use of your telescope. And there are over 70 observing programs to look at. So this is a great way, once you've gotten to understand how your equipment works, this is a great way to start and say, well, now what do I look at? And you can start with something really simple like the Messier program, 110 great objects that you can locate with a relatively modest sized telescope, even from the Raleigh area. And it's a great way to get started. We also have our special interest group, the imaging group, and that is really, the purpose is to provide that environment for guidance and discussions of all aspects of astrophotography. And you don't need any imaging gear to be part of the group, just that you have an interest to learn and it's something that you want to know more of. And again, big thanks to Chris Cole for providing the background shot here of the Elephant Trunk Nebula. Members who join the imaging subgroup will interact via the monthly meetings, as mentioned on the third Thursday, through topic discussions through Groups IO. They do occasional workshops, and there's also lots of assistance available for getting started. And if you want to submit any of your images for critiquing, I know that they'll provide very useful criticism on, you can do this better, or you could, if you did a bit more data capture, you might be able to enhance that. So I'd say a very worthwhile group if you're interested in astrophotography. Good way to get constructive criticism there. And again, thanks to Chris for another great picture of a massive solar flare there. We also have classes, and they're offered monthly. They've just resumed now as we're kind of getting on through the pandemic. I think the last one was virtual. They're currently offered, as I mentioned, through Zoom to club members. The recordings will be available through YouTube. In fact, I think the binocular one was just posted this week. And the classes are advertised both on the RAC Academy group, as well as the members major group. And they're in the process of planning additional topics. So if you have a particular request, please go ahead and send an email to education@raleighastro.org. October's topic is tentative, so that's October 2021, and we believe that's going to be star charts and star hopping. And also another topic of interest for the future is using visual filters. There are many volunteer opportunities for folks. And we'll put out there one right now is become a key holder. So if you want to go out to Jordan Lake and be able to use that location on non-RAC ops nights, and you're willing to open up the key or open up the gate to let other members come along with you, consider becoming a key holder. We've got quite a few extra keys. So if it's something that you want to be interested in and want to take part in, also helping make the decisions on whether or not it's going to be a good night for observing for the RAC obs, that's pretty much what is expected of the key holders. You can join the webmaster committee. And again, at this point, if any of the other folks on the leadership team want to make a comment about either their committee or their group, feel free to do so. So we could always use help with the webmaster committee. You can help support the social media campaign. It doesn't even have to be official. If you want to post images or stories to the Facebook page, please do so. You can join the outreach committee. So it's always good to have a very diverse group there to help serve the needs throughout the Triangle area. And you don't even need a telescope to serve on this committee. Many times, and what we learned in the last meeting we had the indoor meeting is that it really takes a lot of different people to make an event a successful one. And that includes people that are going to help manage the lines and kind of be that person that helps interact with um, uh, the public before they get to the eyepiece. So again, even if you don't have a telescope, but you're interested in becoming part of that group, please join the outreach committee. You can also join the education committee. So we just talked about the binocular observing class, and the upcoming ones. Always can use additional support with them. You can run for a club officer after 1 year of membership. You can join the Loaner Telescope Committee. You can assist the Astronomical League coordinator. So we call that the ALCOR. We have a mentoring program that's hopefully coming very soon. That is unfortunately slow getting started. We have open positions unfilled for a club historian. And we also have an open/unfilled spot for a newsletter committee as well. Options for help. So in case you do need help with anything, the website has help articles for just about everything. So again, once you log in, this is the member portal, the member login page. Right here, you just click on the how to help or the how to help articles. And here's a listing of those. So, if you have a question about your membership, there's an article about changing your dues or payment options, how to renew your membership. Also, if you want to, how to cancel your membership. If you have questions about the RAC website, how to reset your password, how to use the club calendar. If you want to, how you can subscribe to the calendar, how you can actually add that calendar into your own Google Calendar, how to update your profile on the club website, and how you can edit certain pieces of your profile, as well as creating and editing pages and posts. So if you want to post something as a blog to the website, that's something that members can do as well. And if you have questions about the email groups, there's an introduction to Groups.io, what groups are available, how you log into the web interface, how you deal with the footer link. So if you want to mute a topic or do a bunch of unsubscribing, subscribing, all that information is available on the help section of the website. You can also post questions to members on the RaleighAstro.groups.io page. And then if you have questions that are related to the website or to the email groups, you can send an email to the webmaster group at webmaster@raleighastro.org. Or if you have questions about your membership, you can contact the treasurer at treasurer@raleighastro.org. So with that, we're going to jump into the Q&A session. Very good. When the indoor meetings were held pre-pandemic, where did the group meet? That's a good question. Wherever we could get space. Most recently, we were meeting on NC State's campus, and that was at the, now it escapes me, oh my gosh, the Craft Center, which was just below the theater there. And we are in discussions, and prior to that, we were meeting at the Museum of North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. We're in discussions with them to be able to use that facility again for a whole bunch of other issues. There was a time where the museum was unable to provide volunteers to kind of cover and open the doors for us to use the facilities at the museum several years ago, which is why we moved to the NC State Craft Center. But the fact that the club has grown so much, there is a concern that even if we did move towards a hybrid model of both online streaming as well as in person. We're not sure that the Wi-Fi is strong enough at the craft center, and two, the facility just isn't great for streaming and would even house enough people. So, you know, at the museum, they've got the technology and the bandwidth. So again, we're in discussions when we can kind of start doing that. For non-members, can you register to get the Zoom information? Yes. So when you go to the club calendar, and if you click on indoor meeting and register, if you click there, you will get the Zoom details sent to your email. Okay. Let's see, just going through the rest of that. Need to log in some members to see the tab on the website. Okay. Sorry, just reading.
If I can interject, Mike. I see there's a question about the Astronomical League and planning on what to do next to advance your skills.
Yeah.
And so I'll take that one. So if you go out to the you literally to find it, I see Matt's already placed the link in the chat there. But you can look for observing programs under that menu tab that comes up on the very first page of the thing. You should be able to see Mike observe exactly, and there should be observing programs. So, and they have a list of there exactly perfectly. So this one is by alphabetic, but I don't, if you might want to go over there and look at the one by exactly
level.
by skill level. So if you're just starting out, I would really suggest that you take attempt one or two of the ones out of the novice program. You know, one of the things that that's really good to start off with would be something like the Beyond Polaris. It's an excellent one to kind of get you acclimated to the night sky, and kind of start thinking about your place in the universe. And then there's another one, and then after that, you might want to try the Lunar One project. So, the Lunar One is a great project to do. I have several of the club members, including myself, have done that one. It's really easy to do. You can do it with both visual. It has both a visual, binocular, and a telescope section, and you should be able to do it with a fairly modest sized telescope. So I would definitely suggest that you go to that one for the lunar program. Then after that, you can continue doing the beginning ones if you wish, but you might be ready at that point to launch into something that's intermediate. And as Mike mentioned before, we have the Messier program, which you can do with binoculars or with a telescope. So there is both a binocular and a Messier observing program. So I definitely want to suggest going out to look at those programs. It's just basically what these are. These are a list of 110 objects for the Messier or Messier for you to be able to find those objects, catalog the data, and once you've marked all the data and everything, then you can submit them to me. I'm actually the club Alcor, which means that I'm the guy. I review the data and then submit that to the Alcor, and then they will actually then award you the pin and certificate with that. Plus, your name also appears in the Reflector magazine. For those of you who are brand new to the club, part of your membership is that you actually get a quarterly magazine called The Reflector, and The Reflector comes in, and then if you actually are selected for an award, your name will appear there. So it's a nationally published magazine. These are nationally recognized awards. And Mike, if you want to go back one page, there is a progression that we call the Master Observer program. So that's the progression. If you click that, you'll be able to see what the progression is for you to become a master observer, and that'd be really a great thing. If you go through all the programs in the master observer progression, then at the end you're going to be pretty adept at finding things in the night sky. I'm not really sure why the page is showing up that we can't get to those items, but there must be some issue there. But if you have problems after this session, send me an email and I'll help you out. But anyway, many of our club members have started doing this, have been working on this progression for quite a while, and so there's a lot of really interesting stuff, and it goes through all the different kinds of things that you would observe in the night sky. So that makes you a much more well-rounded astronomer. Plus, it also gives you the confidence where you can also reach out to others and help others in the club who are just getting started and struggling. So definitely want to encourage everybody to look at these programs and to start working on them.
Very good.
And your membership actually pays for your membership in the AL as well.
That's
so
great.
It's actually a paid thing.
Exactly. It's a privilege of your membership. Our club does pay. Thanks for bringing that up, Matt.
Just going through, which site is darkest, Howell Woods or Big Woods? I'd say Howell Woods is. I don't know if anyone wants. Oh, someone already responded to that. Okay. Any other questions?
It's darker and it's open more than Big Woods. Big Woods, we have to notify the ranger before we go, whereas Howell Woods, you don't. I don't think you have to notify anybody, do you?
You don't have to, but it's a good idea so they can make sure that they turn the lights off and maybe they'll unlock the warm room for you.
Okay.
I haven't been out there in quite some time.
I haven't either.
Yeah, but it is. I will say it's darker.
It's definitely darker.
Yeah, I've done a Messier marathon both at Howell Woods and at Big Woods, and it's darker and the horizons are better. So you have fewer trees.
I'd say it has a better horizon for sure.
It also has way better mosquitoes.
Well, you would know that, Dana.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions related to, I guess, the new member topics, the AL, how to use the website, observing sites, that sort of thing? Please feel free to take yourselves on mute and ask.
There was a question about if we have the coordinates for either Howell Woods or Big Woods, and of course I answered that we do have directions there, but I don't know if you have any coordinates. Do you know if our directions have the coordinates to either one of these sites, or?
I don't think we do.
I don't, but funny you asked.
A long time ago. They're in my mount. I just don't have access.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pasting here in the chat session. I pasted the Big Woods coordinates.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't have Howell Woods. Thank you for watching.